Good afternoon. So today I slept many hours. I mean, not only during the night, but also this morning. I had to recuperate to be again to really regain my strengths. But so now we continue business as usual, as they say, and of course the agenda is continuing our research into the natural sciences and especially physics, and studies of the concept of cause and effect, a fundamental principle in science and, of course, in every other human, human affair or human interaction with the environment. As explained before, we are long past our investigation of the nature of flags, and it was a long investigation, and probably it was needed, even though in retrospect it seems perhaps a little bit redundant, but I mean, you don't know in retrospect what you know beforehand, so I mean, it was probably required, even if it's only like main conclusion is that currently where we stand now in the year 2023, we and especially myself, I should, I mean, accept the fact that the issue is no longer the issue of knowledge. I mean, it was a major issue during the 20th century, and my predecessors, which were very important, and they have done, I mean, important work, and of course, like myself, they sacrificed a lot and suffered a lot. It's never an easy job. It's always something that requires a great personal sacrifices. But so part of their job was they worked, I mean, in the field of international affairs, and especially with regards to the two superpowers. Even though, of course, the issue, I mean, predates the formation of the Soviet Union in the United States of America, and of course lasted after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. But as it turns out, that most of the international aspects of this of our predecessors, of our missions was, I mean, carried out during the age of the superpowers. But as you know, we are past the age of the superpowers, and now, but I mean, yes, okay, I mean, yes, a lot of what I do is related to reenactments of things from the past, and it's the best way, and probably the only way for me to actually learn about the past, because I mean, most of what we deal is completely hidden in shrouds and secretive, and you can only find like clues, I mean, you know, if you are very attentive. So divinations and the reenactment are a very strong method of understanding the past. The past is important. By the way, I should mention just, I mean, as a side note, that you know that one of my main conclusions, and my first conclusion with regards to the Israel, specifically the Israeli, I mean, like in the states of Israel, aspect of the genocide and the Titanic abuse is that it's impossible that it started with the formation of the formal formation of the country, or like in 1948. It must predate it, and it already existed during I mean the first like 50 years of the 20th century, and that it's probably something to do with Zionism. But it doesn't predate Zionism by much. I mean, perhaps the gate was open since antiquity, but people didn't know much about it, and it was like on and off thing, but not. It wasn't. It wasn't used for systematic subjugation of other people and rape and murder as it is now. But it has been like that probably since the beginning of Zionism at the end of the 19th century. That was a major conclusion, and the conclusion was actually, as many other conclusions, it was drawn primarily by understanding the nature of people, which is very, I mean, it's a very important tool that I have since my beginning of my inquiries into my own conspiracies that surrounds my own life and Israel in general in 2019. It's a tool that is very it's a very strong tool because it's something that is very difficult to hide, like the nature of people, like how they behave. They cannot hide their nature. I mean, even people that are wearing masks all day and masks are their nature, they can't hide their nature. So you can learn a lot from that, and it is clear that when the state of Israel was established in 1948, it was already. Well, I don't want to elaborate on it now. I spoke about it in the past. Maybe I'll speak about it a little bit later, more. How did they ever come? Okay, so regarding like the secrets that everything is a secret. So I try to think. I mean, okay. So if it was actually an aspect of Zionism and of the decades that predates the formal state of Israel, but were extremely important in the formation of Israel, because when Israel was established in 1948, it was already in many ways a functioning state. It was under. Formally it was a British mandate, but it was an atypically, it was a very successful mandate, and this is not because of the British involvement. Famously, the mandatory system, failed almost everywhere, and it was, rotten from the beginning. In fact, it was on a surface level, it was successful in Israel. Was not because of special British efforts on the matter, but because of special constellation that existed in the historical land of Israel, which is almost unrelated to what the British officers actually did here. It's very different from other, former like colonies or territories of the British empires, like India or I don't know anywhere else. This is a very different case. And the special case was here that 50 years prior to the formal establishment of Israel, and even before the mandate started, because it started in 1917, and according to my calculations, let's leave it. Both Zionism and the Titan subjugations predates 1917, and so according to it's not secret, and it's not. It's very famous that it's a famous part of Israeli history that many of the systems of the state were established, including military forces and health care systems, which were very sophisticated for the time, and social support and even universities. Famously, the Hebrew University was started during the 1920s with world famous scientists of all fields of science, police, of course, jails, everything. So it was already when it actually declared, it was already a state in many ways. So, why do I refer to all this? Because, regarding the secrets, just something that I thought about today that, so as that I really like, I'm really a literary dude. I like literature. Literature is one of my favorite hobbies. So I asked myself, like, okay, if it was true, can you, find, probably people knew about it here in Israel. It was a secret like today, but it was secret that shared by a substantial amount of people, like it is today. I'm referring to the Titan subjugation and the Titanic genocide. And I mean, probably it. I mean, people. I mean, of like. I mean, like persons of like artistic, let's say, inclination. Um, Whether it is in the like plastic arts like sculpturing or painting, or even more so in literature, they might refer to it. I mean, they couldn't have done it openly, but famously, I mean, people used art and literature to deal with secret or things that are not allowed to speak about. I mean, throughout history, and this is a very known thing that I mean, art and literature was I mean major way to for people to discuss issues that were forbidden by the people of power. And it's not a new. It was like that. I mean, throughout history. So, I mean, so I thought to myself, can you think of like literary works from the first 50 years or so of the 20th century that from the era of Zionism that actually deals with the Titanic situation? Is it possible? And I mean, almost immediately I understood that the answer is of course. And there are many, but the one that I mean, just jumped to my head almost immediately was Ido Ve'inam. It's a story. It's not the best known story of Agnon, but it's well known. Um, I don't know if it's internationally, it's probably not one of its more like internationally known stories because it's extremely difficult to translate. Agnon is the only Israeli that ever won the Nobel Prize for literature. Um, and Ido Binam is one of his more, I mean, peculiar stories. A lot of his work is a little bit. He was extremely eccentric in a way that I mean, he had his own style of writing. Like there is like Shai Agnon and there is everything else that was ever written in Hebrew. I mean, you can like take every like I mean random page of his entire body of work, and if you like show it to anyone in like that speaks Hebrew and like is educated and like especially is educated in the field of literature, and he will immediately, even if he didn't read it before, he will immediately know that it's Shai Agnon. Like it's like his own language. It's like his own he created his own version of Hebrew. I mean, in a way that you cannot. I mean, you cannot do it again. You cannot write like Agnon again after Agnon. He was the first and last to actually use his version of Hebrew. Again, and I mean, I didn't. I mean, I'm actually I myself I didn't read I mean much of his work, and I mean I didn't have the time. I wish I had I mean more time but you know you can't read everything, and I've studied that many things, but I've read. I mean, I've done my share of reading Agnon as well, and I assure you that if you will give me I mean any page of anything that he ever written, and most of it I didn't read, I will immediately identify it as Agnon, and I am not special about it. I mean, I think that everyone that I mean has like education like myself, with I mean, with like in the Hebrew language and basically I mean understanding of literature, will be able to identify it because it's so special. So I mean, Ido Ve'inam is it's a relatively late work. I think it was published 1950. I don't know when it was written, but it was published during 1950, and it deals with many with said. I mean, it's a lot of sadness in the story. It's and well, maybe I'll speak about it later. Anyway, where are we? So we will keep continue with our scientific research today, and I mean yesterday I was just too tired. I mean I started like working with the mixed I mixed several types of beeswax and starting to work on. I want to like upgrade the compartment, like the metal case where I keep the Nero juice, so it will be more resistant to radiation. So I thought about like, I mean, covering it with another like layer of clay. It's already actually it sits inside the metal can. There is already, I mean, already like pelleted with some clay, so it's already like double layered with both metal and clay. But I want to I want to like make it more doable with more clay. So I'll do it today as well. Um, um, so that's what I'll do. And but another thought that came to my mind, I mean, during the work, in fact, the practical work yesterday, is to create, actually to refill the Neros, not the not I mean the Aneronim, the Neros. I mean I call it the nanobots the Neros, but they are named after they are named after the Caesar Nero, but also after small candles that are called Neronim in Israel, which are very common in Israel because many people use it for like Jewish like liturgy, like candles for Shabbat and things like that. So it's, I mean, so, and coincidentally or not coincidentally, they actually look very similar. I mean, Neos and Neos. I mean, because the actual nanobots actually are also round and like they're made of silver. There is silver. They're covered with silver ring, and they are actually, and when they work, they actually burn stuff inside them, and it glows like flame. And this was actually shown under the microscope. It's very interesting that actually they are named. I didn't know that when I named it. I mean, actually, I just, I mean, I remember where I saw about the name. It was actually when I was, one of my hikes, I was in Arad, a small, town in the south of Israel. And I went to the supermarket. It was Friday, I think. And I just saw like a box with 72 neonim. I took a picture, actually posted it in Facebook so you can see exactly where it was named, where it was named. So it's like, I saw a box with 72 neonim and 72 Neros, and that's where I thought about the name to call the nanobots Neros. And I have no idea at all that they actually looked like that. That was actually, this was like a prophecy. I was not, I was actually very surprised to see that under the Microsoft, when they operate, it just looked like that exactly. It's like a silver ring and something burning inside. So I thought maybe like, I mean, after I take the wax from the candle, it's where we have the aluminum foil or whatever it is, like the very thin metal, like it keeps empty. So I thought about cleaning it and then refilling it with the mixture of the wax that I melted with the Nero juice. So I'll have like in that way I will have like kind of like stored candles like that. And maybe I'll think about usages for future experiments other than just burn them like I will do today. It can be very, I mean, I don't know, for sure. I mean, it's always already demonstrated several times that these are like small energy bombs, like not in a bad way, not like in a weaponry. I mean, energy storage, like, I mean, because it contains a lot of potential energy, because we've seen that it can be burned several times, it can be burned for a long period. So it's, maybe it can be used as batteries. I don't know. I mean, it must have its usages. I mean, I didn't mean to use the word bomb like to suggest like military usages, like bomb, like in Israel they say ptatza, they mean like bomb. They mean one of the meaning is like, I mean, things that have like a lot of like potency, like things that is like a battery for example. So that's the plan, and of course I will take photos and videos, and but first of all I need to eat something because I'm very hungry, and so bye for now.